build our collective capacity to create exponential change?
Yes. So one thing that I believe to be true, I am, like many of you, I am a student of history and I'm also a futurist. So that means for me, I'm looking at what lessons we can draw from our history and our shared global experience to think well about what we might do to have a better future. And so I say that because history has shown us that anytime we have worked to transform something that seemed impossible to change, the work that you all do every day, that we had to have something that I call a MIC at the center of that. MIC is an abbreviation for multiracial, intergenerational, cross-sector coalition. So the MIC, people who look and live differently from each other, has always been essential to create systems change. So all of you, I believe, are in the business of doing what I think is required for exponential change. You're in the business of advocating on behalf of, working in partnership with communities. You're also in the business of building coalitions across identity and experience so that everybody can thrive and everyone can be protected and everyone can be held with value in society. So I would say that one thing that's really essential for exponential change are these coalitions across identity and across experience, because what we have in common is our humanity and we're our interdependence. I think one of the things that the Center for Exponential Change helps us see is that we are absolutely interdependent, and it is to our own folly that we live as if our fates are not interconnected. They are, right? This planet reminds us of that and is doing so more boldly each day. Our societies, our economies, our culture consistently reminds us that we are connected and dependent on each other. And I believe that the Center for Exponential Change helps us not only understand that, but take actions that align with that truth. The other thing that is really important when we're thinking about exponential change is trust. Trust is everything. You know, change moves at the speed of trust. Capital moves at the speed and in the direction of trust. And one of the things that has really broken down in recent years and even decades is trust. And so it's important to consider what it takes for us human beings to trust one another. And there's three basic pathways that we tend to take. One is familiarity. I trust you because I recognize you. You look like me, you live like me, we've gone to the same institutions, we do the same things. Now, we know that even though familiarity as a pathway to trust, even though it's tried and true, it tends to generate inequity and fragmentation if it's the only way you're building trust. So it exists, we can't change that it exists, but it's insufficient to create a cohesive community for change. The other way we tend to build trust as humans is through like immersion. I find some way to spend weeks, months, years living in the situation you live in, and then from that I come to know who you are. Beautiful when it can happen, but not that many of us have the time or the financial resource to sort of pick up our lives and immerse ourselves in something completely different. If you can, it's a wonderful thing to do. I encourage it, but it's not available to a majority of us. Now, the final way that we can build trust, which I think is so relevant for exponential change, is by doing something together, being shoulder to shoulder, taking action, making change, solving a problem, creating art, making music. When we do something together, that is when we build trust. At the Exchange Summit, we had a dance party last night, and let me tell you, when you dance with somebody to the rhythm, you end up trusting that person more than you ever would have through 25 emails and 15 meetings. And so I do think that the doing of a thing, the dancing of a thing together, is a beautiful way to build trust, and we can't underestimate how critical it is for exponential change.